Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori, and I wanted to talk to you today about embracing who you are. And you're like, okay, well, what does that even mean? First of all, you're going to have to love you. And in order to love you, you got to know who you are. And this means unboxing everything that somebody has taught you if you don't align with it. So you have to ask yourself first and foremost, what do you align with? This is going to take a lot of introspective work. I actually have some podcast episodes on this that might be helpful. So you can just jump over to the podcast, same naming, Positivity Experience on every platform. But it's important that you constantly remember that when you're born, you were given a set of beliefs or limiting beliefs that was handed down to you from your parents or their parents, or it doesn't matter. But that's how you get here, right? You're given a name. A lot of times name you don't even get to pick. Well, you don't get to pick. You can change it, but you don't get to pick it in the beginning. Maybe a religious and political affiliation, an expectation of how things run in the family. You've been here 2.5 seconds. We've talked about this before. So you have to start asking yourself what it is that you align with. What do you believe? Not what does society want you to believe? What does mom want you to believe? No. What do you believe in? And that's what you have to sit with. You have to unbox it. And sometimes it can be scary. Only if you let it, but it can be scary because you're like, oh my God, the last X amount of years of my life, I don't even know who I am. I don't even know who I've lived to be. I don't even know. All important things that you understand. You don't get to judge it. Here's the second piece of that. You have to be careful with your regret. You cannot live with regret. Listen, there's going to be a lot of times in your life you're going to be like, ew, ugh. And let me tell you, I've probably had more than the average person. I'm writing about it in my second book. And yeah, there's a lot of things that you do or have done, I should say, and maybe will do again. Because remember, you only do things with the tools you have in that moment. It's important you understand that. Because if you look now, like I'm 51, if I look back and look at the things I did in my 20s, I'd be like, whoa, good Lord, who was that person? Sometimes I don't even recognize who that person was. But I embrace who that person was. See, that's the difference. You don't get to judge it, look at it and go, ooh, I'm not that person anymore. And pretend as though you're not still that person, not in the same actions, but you're still the same human being. You can't run away from yourself. So you have to stop trying to busy yourself, stop trying to run, flee, constantly, oh, I'm going to just change right now. And that's the biggest thing that you're going to run into when you're doing your healing journey, right? Is you want to heal today. You want to heal at 40, 60, 20, whatever. You want to heal there, but you don't realize you can't just put litter over the poop and then build something good on it. It's just not going to happen. So you have to go back and unbox it, but without judgment. See, the problem is not only are you judging other people, which is already a whole different topic, but it is you also sit and you judge yourself. I'm a horrible person because I did this. No, you kind of did what you had to do to survive. That's the thing. You're a resilient human being. And sometimes you got to resort to some things that are less than ideal, less than even legal sometimes. I mean, sometimes those things have happened, but you don't get to judge it and say, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Why? And don't hide from it. See, that's the third part of it. Don't hide from it because you can't, I'm not embarrassed by anything. Used to be. Writing about, tell you how I got on the other side of that in the book, but yeah, it used to be, because I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so, I don't want people to pull this out on me. And oh my God, what if they knew I did this? And what if they know I didn't do this? And all these things come out. And now you're living this lie and living in fear because you're worried about everybody blackmailing you with something. Well, when you embrace it, they can't blackmail you. They can't hold it against you. There's nothing to hold over your head if you embrace it. Oh my God, did you know they did blah, blah, blah? They cheated on their husband or whatever, for wife or whomever, right? Yeah, I did. Well, I mean, that wasn't good. Okay, but I did it. So I'm here now. First of all, you wouldn't give them that much life because you'd be like, mind your business, stay in your lane kind of thing without being rude. But I'm saying to you, don't let somebody's talking about you, gossiping about you, about some things you did or didn't do. Listen, even if they're not true, this is where you have to pick your battles. And your battles must lie within yourself. Unboxing those battles that you have with your daily dialogue is so much more important than dealing with what people say. Because see, here's the thing. People will say some people don't want to see more than what they think they see. Okay? So I don't care if you said, like I said, hey, this is a palm of a hand. And the person was like, it's a foot. Oh, okay. I mean, you have to understand that it isn't something that is going to change their mind. And that's the biggest thing, is to understand that people don't just change their mind because you want them to be changed. And you have to understand that when people gossip and they talk about you, instead of worrying about having to have the last word, and see, you're not embracing you. You're trying to make it how everybody else sees you. But how do you see you? Because if you see yourself as solid, and I mean really solid, this means embracing your past, understanding that it is what it is, regardless, dealing with the deeper rooted issues of your insecurity, your body dysmorphia, other things that you're struggling with. That's where that energy needs to be funneled, because hurt people. So if you're a gossiper, right? Because to be fair, we all vent, right? But I mean, like if you're a full-on gossiper and you're always trying to tear people down and, oh, why are they doing this? And you're always sitting in judgment. You got to check yourself, because you're not okay with yourself. No scenario on this planet is somebody's good with themselves and then they talk about other people. It's like you can't be negative every day and then say, peace, love, and happiness, I'm going to have abundance. Those two things don't go together. So I want you to start realizing that when people start talking about you, let them, because there's going to be people who are only going to believe what they want to believe. And if people don't know you and they want to believe a narrative that somebody else is telling them, let them. They're just not your people. Don't get defensive. Cognitive distortion. Don't get defensive. Don't get reactive. Don't get all of that. Because when you're in a space and you're good with self, and you're good with, hold on. Oh, he's like, I really don't care what you have to say. He wanted to come up and see you guys. Go ahead. You want to say hello? He really loves himself, and I love him. Yeah, I know. I love you too. Did you hear him? He just told you he loved you. He told you he loved you. But yes, and so you have to understand that when you're in that space of feeling embarrassed and feeling regretful and feeling like you were stupid and that you made all these mistakes and you could have done things differently. Okay, don't worry about then. What are you going to do about it now? What kind of growth do you want now? And you can't just say, I'm never going to do that again. We have to understand the root cause of why you did it in the first place, and then understand that you might not have had the tools that you do now. This is important for you because you're picking yourself apart and you think you're supposed to be this perfect thing. We're going to talk about perfectionism this week too. Perfectionism is not a thing, and it is rooted in insecurity and fears, right? Because you're afraid that if it's not perfect, you're going to fail, and we'll talk about it. But I want you to sit with yourself, literally sit with yourself and ask yourself, who are you? Not defined by what you do. Not a wife, a mother, a husband, a father, a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, all amazing things, and I love you for it. But that's not who you are, that's what you do. Who you are is who you are to your core foundation. And that's where people get mixed up, because that's why you look at success, whatever you deem as success, because success is different for other people, everybody else. But you have to understand that if you're looking for your worth based on how you perform at work, right? I mean, all great things. You want to have good work ethic. Yeah, that's part of a well-rounded human. But I want you to be very, very, very clear on the fact that that does not define who you are. Your actions in your past does not define you. It is just part of you. Literally listen to that, because I'm going to repeat it again. Your actions in the past, good, bad, indifferent, everything else, does not define you. It's a part of you. So you can't say that you're going to learn self-love, but you don't like this piece of you. Then you will never have self-love, and your relationships will become codependent, because you're going to always try to fit in somebody else's box. Now you're codependent. Now you're in people-pleasing mode, because again, you're looking for external sources to fill your internal void. And the rule of thumb, and something to be aware of, is I don't care how much you want it, you never heal outside in. Other humans don't have the ability to heal you to the core. They are not you. Yeah, it's great to have a support system. But if you're sitting there and you're worried about that support system and you feel like you have to have a support system before you work on yourself, absolutely not. And with support system, I don't mean like therapists, coaches, and stuff like us. That's not what I mean. I mean family. Stop banking that they have to know your journey and they have to support it or they have to agree with it, because they don't. Again, that's going back into who you are as a person and who you need to embrace. So that's what I want you to work on. Let me know down here in the comments if you want me to do a longer podcast on it. I've done various podcasts that are various amounts of those topics, so you can go back and listen to those too. But remember, you're a flawed human being, and that is beautiful.